So, we've spoken about this issue on multiple occasions, especially the fact that bail is a right and jail is exception. But bail, especially to under trials, what are the special circumstances governing a situation like that?
So this is a case where we are dealing with somebody who is yet to face trial, who is still considered to be an accused for the purposes of the criminal case that is, held against him. Now we are talking of these two people who were the first, so to say, the first protesters, or who started this protest for the this against this judgment which came with regard to that CAA. And because they started the protest, they have been, and ultimately it resulted into violence. Now there is no, firstly, direct link between them and the violence, except that they started this campaign against this particular legislation. But the more important thing is that they are already in jail for more than 5 years, and there is no hope of the trial starting even in the near future. And then to have a distinction between some under trials and these two, by saying that the role of these two is slightly more graver than the other five, and accordingly they should remain in jail even as an under trial without any hope of trial starting in the near future, according to me, is a complete miscarriage of justice. This period that they will be spending in jail can never be given back to them if they are ultimately not found to be guilty. The only anxiety of the system should be to start the trial as soon as possible. And even if it is alleged that these under trials have in some way or the other been responsible for delaying the trial, is also no ground to say that they should be kept in jail indefinitely, because when you say that a under trial is responsible in delaying the trial, obviously he has exercised certain rights available to him in law for challenging some procedural orders in between, because of which the trial may not have started. Now that's again a decision of the court to delay the trial, because the higher courts have taken a view that trial at this stage cannot start for whatever good reason. So that delay also can't be attributed to an under trial if courts have intervened by virtue of which the trial got delayed. So I think expediting the trial is clearly within the hands of the court. If the court is unable to expedite the trial for a person who's already in custody, I can understand a trial being delayed for somebody who's absconding, and obviously the trial can't start because he has to be apprehended, and that person claiming advantage of the delay would be looked at very differently from somebody who is in custody. And if he is in custody and if the trial is being delayed because the court is unable to go ahead with the trial for whatever reason, then it is the court only which has to take the blame for delay of the trial, because either they have not followed the procedure properly, which has given the accused a right to go to the higher court and get some interim orders in the way in which the trial is going on. So if you are not doing something correctly, because of which the trial is not able to start, you can't blame the accused for not by denying him bail because there is a delay in trial. Even this classification of offenders under the UAPA without there is no, they have not done any killing, they are not actually in any, they have not committed any crime, so to say, in the conventional sense. They are alleged to be the masterminds or the brain behind this whole agitation which resulted in some riots. Now, there is no direct element of their actually starting the riot or their statements directly being attributed to the start of the riots. The riots are because there is a large section of people who have a problem with this legislation, who are protesting, and whenever there is a protest in large numbers, there is always a possibility of it converting into riot. And most of the time, these riots are managed by antisocial elements who are not part of the protesters, who come there only to disturb the protesters, and which results in a riot situation happening. Now, in such a situation, to deny bail in this case, according to me, where firstly because the role of these people are not such which inspires their such long detention as under trials. And even if there was, supposing it was a case of Kasab who had gunned down people in the Bombay, I can understand denying him bail if there is a delay in the trial. But these are not people who have killed anybody in the way a terrorist does. These are people who have only started so-called agitation against a particular legislation, which is a very much a democratic right of every citizen of this country. And to keep him as an under trial for so long, according to me, is clearly not justified.